The Undercountry Music News is an excerpt of the weekly internet broadcast Undercountry Music, which features music from great country artists you won't hear on mainstream radio, as well as a roundup of the most interesting country music news of the week without all the fluff. To listen and subscribe to the full weekly episode, please visit undercountrymusic.com or simply subscribe to the Undercountry Music Podcast on iTunes. Let's get into it. I've been away from the show so long I don't even know the sound of my own banjos, because it is time for the Undercountry Music News. Yes, this is the sparkling clean version of the Undercountry Music News. You know, I was noticing something when I was listening to the Undercountry Music News last week while I was on vacation. I had a peek at the news I did the week before, listened to it over there on my Spreaker channel at undercountrymusicnews.com, which is also rebroadcast on YouTube. And for those platforms, I take away the banjos that are in the background. People who are listening to the full podcast right now, they hear banjos in the background. But if you're listening to just the news portion over on YouTube or on my Spreaker page, and I have submitted the show to iHeartRadio, then you don't hear the banjos in the background. Now, the banjos cover up a lot of stuff, and it was pretty cold when I was recording last time. And I didn't pay any attention to, I had the heater blasting over my head. It was like, but when I have the banjos, you can't really hear the heater. You can't tell that it's there coming down. So I didn't think anything of it. And then I went and I published the news. And I noticed that when I didn't have the banjos there to hide all the background noise, that it sounded like I was talking in a wind tunnel. So, my apologies to that. And so this week I have turned off the heat in my broadcasting tower in the dead of winter so that I can bring you the high quality experience of the Undercountry Music News that you so rightfully deserve without it sounding like I'm frying bacon underwater. All right. Hey, how do I sound this week? Do I sound sexy, like a sexy beast? Anyway, let's get into it here, okay? The Undercountry Music News is the part of the show where I go into Google and I do a search for country music news. And whatever the top sites are that are reporting on country music news that come up on the first page of Google, I go in and I see what they got. And a lot of times, I would say 6 out of 8, if you're a mathematician, that would be 3 out of 4, stories that I read on these sites are just press releases and BS, about, what, I don't know, what Sheely Wright thinks about evergreens in the wintertime or some stupid BS like that, okay? And, my job is to dig past all that kind of garbage and find the real stories in country music news and get the 1 or 2 from this website and 1 or 2 from that website. And then I smush them all together and I compile them so that you get the real country music news without having to dig through all that. And then I bring it to you. And I also give you my own thoughts and opinions on things too, which can kind of tick some people off sometimes, but I'm honest. I tell you what I really think about stuff. I may be accurate, I may not. Your mileage may vary. Oh, but there is one thing to know. If I come across a site that's supposed to be reporting country music news and they got nothing but press releases and garbage and recipes for Spanish southwestern rice in an armadillo shell or something, but that'd be pretty cool. I'd totally eat that, by the way. Then I reward those pathetic excuses for websites with the dreaded Undercountry Music News Wet Belch of the Week. And in case I don't get to belch for anyone, here's a little taste of that, just so you know what to keep your ears peeled for. That That's how we do it. All right. And that's real, by the way. That's not a sound effect. That's me pushing air into my stomach, then pressing my stomach against the edge of my desk and letting it fly right here. That's why no two undercountry music news wet belches of the week are ever the same. They're like belchy snowflakes. Let's get into it. Over at CMT, Country Music Television, they have a spotlight shining directly onto the new Keith Urban and Erich Church duet, Raise 'Em Up, which I personally had to listen to. And honestly, I didn't even make it past the first verse before I had to turn it off. It's terrible. Very badly overdone country cliches. Every one of them in the book got literally shoved into the first 3 lines of this tune. I mean, it's like a Music Row, C-level songwriter wiped their butt on a lyric sheet and then had Keith Urban and Erich Church sing it. I just absolutely could not take it. This song is a turd, a smelly turd, a Colombian butt bomb turd, and not even a warm turd. I have no time for this stuff. Okay, I'm moving along. In other news over at CMT, in an article penned by Samantha Stevens, Dolly Parton is in a development deal with NBC to produce a series of 2-hour made-for-TV movies based on her songs and her life, and also her stories. Now, no timeline has been announced for when these may come out, but boy, I say free the Dolly 2-hour specials. And writer Allison Bonaguro, I don't know if I'm saying that right, because she's a writer. She reviews Blake Shelton's appearance as both the host and musical guest on SNL last week, Saturday Night Live, for those of you a little slow on the uptake. And I got to tell you, she pretty much called it like it was, which was mostly lame, with skits that weren't really funny, with just a couple of somewhat humorous moments, which is pretty typical of Saturday Night Live these days, so I really don't have any idea how they stay on the air or why anyone watches them personally. I don't have TV, but I did watch all the skits but one online, and the only thing I found remotely funny, just because it was so incredibly stupid, was a music video for a song called The Wishing Boot. And that was so incredibly stupid that I couldn't help but laugh. Okay? I can't really describe it and do this justice. You've got to get over to cmt.com and see The Wishing Boot for yourself. I cannot promise that you'll be glad you did. Okay? Okay, so just letting you know, don't come after me with pitchforks if you go there and say, well, that's a few minutes of my life I'll never get back. I got a chuckle out of it, and I think you will too. But I don't know. It's bad, it's stupid, but it's so bad and stupid that I thought it was funny. Okay, moving along to Taste of Country. According to Taste of Country writer Billy Dukes, Carrie Underwood will be opening the Super Bowl with a special version of her Sunday Night Football song. That's about the only thing they have going on over at Taste of Country this week, but it does save them from the wet belch. Country Weekly. Bob Paxman is reporting that Shania Twain will be releasing a live album along with a DVD of her Las Vegas show, which recently came to a close at Caesar's Palace. Now, okay, I'm not a huge fan of pop country, and Shania played a very, very large role in the ushering in of a lot of the garbage we have on the radio today. But her stuff is fun, usually. Fun, whatever. It is what it is. And a lot of people like it, whatever. But that being said, you whiners and criers out there in the music industry, you want to know how to sell albums in this day and age? You want to say to me that nobody can sell music anymore? Well, I'm going to make a prediction right here, right now. And that prediction is that Shania Twain's team has cracked the code, at least for now, on how to sell albums on a large scale when your audience isn't comprised of screaming 13-year-olds like somebody else who used to pretend to be country and finally gave it up and now calls themselves pop. And we all know who that is. I don't need to say the name. All right. And this, what Shania Twain's team is doing, is it. And I say her team because, it's not just her. She's a performer, but, she's got some of the best brains in history, taking care of her right now. I think she's with Nash Icon now, which means she's being handled by the best there is. Okay? Now, you have to up the ante in this day and age in order to move your music. And they've done that by packaging the CD along with a DVD video concert. Along with the concert that the CD is of. Now, I'm not saying that this is going to be the biggest seller of the year all time or even close. It might not be. But what I am saying is that I think this strategy of packaging the CD, everyone's crying that they can't sell the CD, but I think people want the CD if they can get it with other stuff. If it's just the CD, they're like, well, I can download the music. Who cares? But what they can't get, you get the artwork on the CD, but if it comes with like a whole package, like a poster, a coffee mug, a DVD concert, now you got a package, and now you got something that you're gonna pay, that you'll go out and spend $30 or $40 because now you're gonna get an experience. You're gonna get the Shania hat. Maybe you'll get the Shania half shirt, and wouldn't you like to see me dancing around in that or something like that? I'll have my midriff exposed. Ooh, that was so risque back in the day. But, this is it, at least for now. And I think the larger acts in the industry, if they aren't completely asleep at the wheel — by the way, I love the band Asleep at the Wheel. And sadly, I think a lot of the major acts in country are asleep at the wheel and just burying their heads in the sand about the way things are going. I think they're going to have to wake up and take notice and realize that in order to sell CDs, they have to be packaged with extras, the posters, the autographed 8x10s, concert merchandise, maybe a program from the concert, and then charge a premium for that package, for that deluxe package. That is the way. The days of people buying a disc all by itself and just the music, nothing but the music, they're over. They're done. Come here, let me slap you around. They're done. Garth Brooks, it's done. Okay? Brooks, it's done. The public is demanding more. And if these millionaire crybabies want to keep making their millions, my opinion, my personal belief is they're going to have to give the fans what they want and up their game instead of cruising on their pasts. I think that's my rant for this week. And I've got this bit of sad news which comes from Country Weekly. Dixie Hall, wife of the legendary Tom T. Hall, has passed away at the age of 80 years old at her home in Nashville. She has had songs recorded by many big names in country music, including Johnny Cash. And in 2004, she and her husband Tom together were awarded with a special achievement acknowledgement by the International Bluegrass Music Association. rest in peace, Dixie Hall. Now, as an aside to that, I think sort of an interesting twist on this that I learned from the story is that I didn't realize Tom T. Hall was still alive. I thought he had passed just because I've heard nothing from him from so long. I don't know why, but I really thought that he was gone, and I'm glad to find out that he's still alive. Maybe someday I'll get to see him sing a song, hear him sing a song or something like that live, and boy, would I love that. But for now, the respects are due to his wife, Dixie, gone from us at the age of 80. And hanging in over at Country Weekly, their scribe, that means writer, Tammy Ragusa, has a story to share about Aaron Tippin, who my buddy Doug Larson is now, stage tech for. I don't know what he's called, what his title is, but that's the best thing I can do. He's the guy that makes sure nothing goes haywire. Okay. He's where the buck stops, making sure that he's got the in-air monitor, making sure that they've got the waters, making sure that they hire the right people to run the show. His job is to get people he doesn't have to babysit to make sure the show goes well. Anyway, Aaron Tippin, back to Aaron Tippin. Aaron is coming out with a new custom labeled blackberry wine to celebrate his 25th anniversary in country music. It will be released on Valentine's Day. All right, enough Country Weekly. We're going to GAC on over to the GAC, which is Great American Country. And GAC we shall, because Great American Country got nothing. So they got the Undercountry Music News Wet Belch of the Week. You're out of here. Moving along. Over at theboot.com. Still need to belch here, but not for the boot. A pretty cool story, and I don't even know if it's BS or not. Quite honestly, this story could be total BS. But because people make up stories behind the songs to get people more interested in them, so they attach themselves, and it sells more records, And, nobody's better at playing that stuff than Miranda and Blake. Now, this is a pretty cool story about how songwriter Audra May was approached by Miranda Lambert to ask her permission to cut her song Little Red Wagon. Audra May wrote the song Little Red Wagon, and she also released it a couple years ago. And then, Miranda Lambert has cut it just recently. And you can read all about how that all came to be over at theboot.com, courtesy of boot writer Gail Thompson. I'm trying to give the writers some credit here this week, especially the ones that actually bother to do their jobs and report the country music news. All right. Going to go over to the 615, which is a subsection of Billboard.com. This is kind of their part that's dedicated to the music happenings around and out of Nashville. If you don't know, 615 is the area code for the greater Nashville area. Anyway, 615, what they got over there? Good thing I had some belching left in me. Some belching waffles for the 615 because they got nothing this week. And they usually got something. They usually got something interesting over there. I'm shocked and saddened. But not that shocked and not that saddened, because I'm getting over to NashvilleGab.com. They have a video of Maddie and Tays. Those two that did Girl in a Country Song. How in the world did it go so wrong? By the way, I love that song. It's a great song, and it's got a message. It's saying something, and it's funny. But anyway, they've got a video of Maddie and Tays performing a new song of theirs on Jimmy Fallon. And quite honestly, I can't remember the name of this new song. Matter of fact, immediately after listening to the song, I couldn't remember a single line from it. But what I could remember is that, once again, this is the second television appearance I've seen by these two. By the way, I like them. So let me put that out there. I like them. but their instruments were not amplified. They were both playing guitars, and they were not amplified. And I saw that on another TV show a while back too. They were sitting there strumming, and I could tell they did not have those ladies audible at all what they were playing, which means that now I'm not saying they don't know how to play. What I am saying is that when they perform on TV, at least these 2 times now that I've seen, they don't have the instruments they're strumming coming through in the mix at all. Not even there as a helper, nothing. Zero, zilch, nada. So, if they're just wearing guitar jewelry, I'm sorry, I think that's lame. And I also think it's disrespectful to musicians who've put in the years and years of hard work and practice that it's taken to make those instruments sound beautiful. So, I have a thing. It's a pet peeve of mine. I don't dig guitar jewelry. If you can't play the damn thing, or if you're not going to play the damn thing, take it off and sing. Do what you do and stop fronting. All right? And on that, I guess I did have a second rant, didn't I? Okay, on that, this has been your Undercountry Music News. Thank you for listening to the Undercountry Music News. The Undercountry Music News is just a small excerpt of the weekly hour-long internet broadcast Undercountry Music, where I play music and have great interviews by lesser-known original country acts. Get on over to undercountrymusic.com where you can listen and subscribe. Stay under, stay country.